We're starting today with a story which has caused quite a national divide. On Saturday, a revised highway code is set to come into force, which is intended to make Britain's roads safer.
Yes, amongst the new rules and guidance, it's now considered safer for two cyclists to ride side by side, and now cars must leave at least 1.5 metres when passing bicycles.
It also states that cyclists should now ride in the centre of a lane in slower-moving traffic on quieter roads.
Well, we're joined now by two people with very different opinions about this. Cycling enthusiast Dave Sherry, who's live from his hometown in Harlow.
Hiya.
Hi.
Hiya, nice to see you. And we're also joined in the studio by Nick Freeman, who is a solicitor specialising in traffic offences. So morning to both of you.
Good morning.
I'm a cyclist, so, you know, I love my bike, but I'm also a motorist. So I'm sort of a unique combination of the two things, and I had not heard a single thing about this from either point of view, as a cyclist or as a motorist. And, Nick, you say that, that the rules are going to make the roads more dangerous.
Yes, I mean, they're well-intentioned. The purpose is to try and make them safer, but I think actually it's going to have the opposite effect. I think they're ill-conceived from a variety of different perspectives. First of all, pedestrians now at junctions can step off the road and cyclists and every other vehicle is expected to stop. So what we're doing is taking away responsibility from the most vulnerable and expecting that responsibility to attach to the shoulders of everybody else on the roads.
So cyclists aside, just for this moment,
OK.
So a pedestrian can just walk out into the road?
At junctions, and you have to stop.
And so...
And bear in mind, at the moment, they can be on their phones.
Yeah.
They can be listening to music. So my view will be very simply, there's a new highway code. Why don't we have designated areas in city centres where they cross the roads? And why
Isn't that called a zebra crossing?
Well, so anything of that sort, and also outlaw it, give them responsibility and say, you cannot cross the road whilst using your phone or whilst listening to music, because we want to make the road safer. And if someone's not really with it, how can it be fair and safe for them to cross the road?
So, Dave, aside from the fact that these rules start in, I think it's Saturday, and no one really had a clue that were happening. It's been reported, you know, if you dig deep enough, there's been quite a lot said about it, but many people, motorists, cyclists, maybe don't know, pedestrians don't know, and it's that moment where you have this crossover between not knowing the rules and knowing the rules, and as Nick just said, you know, a pedestrian on Saturday could think, right, well, I'm OK to walk out here, you've got to give way. But the cyclist and the motorist might not know. So until we are used to these rules, surely more people are going to get knocked over.
Yes.
Thank you.
I totally agree. But the thing is, you've got to use your common sense. The highway code's changed because it's not a war on drivers, it's a war on incompetent drivers. It's about making the road safer, a better place for pedestrians, cyclists, car drivers, HGV and buses. It's the shoe's on the other foot now, thinking out the box, and I think it is a good thing. It's going to improve road safety tenfold. I think it's all about using the common sense. If you don't follow these new rules, you're going to get reported and you're going to have your day in court. A driver awareness course will help re-educate you, but the highway code's there like to help guide you. So people should be aware of the highway code. It's updated quite regularly, so there should be no excuses.
Dave, do you think this could? Because to me, obviously, like we said, the first I knew about this was yesterday, and that's purely because I'm here this week. It's not been made. There's been no noise around this.
A third of motorists haven't heard
at all.
A third of motorists haven't heard. And of the balance, there's a significant number who say we're not even going to look at it, which is very concerning. Because it's going to be a drastic change from Saturday.
And it is from Saturday.
49 changes.
Yeah, and like Philip said, a lot of these changes, you know, thankfully I'm here and I now will know what they are. Do you think, Dave, this could cause a lot more road rage than there already is?
Yes, it will boil up a little bit, but the thing is, the end result will be safer roads. That's what we all need, that's all we all want. It's just holding back, giving enough space from the cyclist, the vulnerable road user in front. It will mean, like myself, I'm going to be busy, and with Nick, he's going to be busy with the end consequence of the reckless, dangerous drivers. So give it another year or two, I think things will calm down.
You have I mean, you're pretty militant, fair enough, and you've convicted a lot of people, fair enough. I mean, you seem absolutely intransigent and don't ever give anyone the benefit of the doubt. Well, fair enough. It's not made you massively popular. Some of the other things, so turning left. So if you're at a junction and you turn left, then you have to, stop the cyclist. I mean, that seems fairly sensible, but at the same time, the pedestrian could be stepping into the street at the same time.
So you imagine a situation, the cyclist is on your near side, just to the rear. You've looked in your mirror, you've seen him there. You might have another cyclist on your offside who also wants to turn left, who's not got in position. They both have priority. So obviously, as a safety perspective, and in accordance with the new highway code, you slow down to afford them access. They're going to go left, and then suddenly there's a pedestrian there who presents himself on the road. Cyclist slams his brakes on because he's got to stop. Pedestrian has priority. The car's then got to stop. And what are the cars behind going to do? What we need really is common sense, don't we? We just need people to drive sensibly with common sense. Obviously, we agree we want to make the road safer. But saying to pedestrians, you can just step out at a junction and expect cars to stop.
There are a couple of other things. I mean, we've seen a fortune has been spent on cycle lanes.
They now know.
And now a cyclist can travel in the middle of the road if the traffic is slower, and on quieter roads. At the same time, cyclists can now ride two abreast, but a motorist has to leave 1.5 metres between them and the cyclist, which means that passing, the roads aren't wide enough. You're in the other side, you're in the oncoming traffic, so you can't pass.
Well, that's a problem. Look, all those things you said have already existed, but there's now specific guidance. So that cyclists are actually now being encouraged to adopt the primary position, which is really in the middle of the road. Now, cyclists may be travelling at 10, 15 miles an hour and a 20-mile-an-hour limit. The target is 20 miles an hour. I know it's the maximum speed, but motorists want to go to that speed. It's slow enough, 20 miles an hour, isn't it? So there's going to be a lot of frustration. And, I think cyclists who are unidentifiable, they cycle with impunity, they're going to hold up a lot of traffic. Certain motorists are going to get angry and frustrated. They're going to have to hold themselves in control, but it's going to cause congestion, it's going to cause mayhem, and it's going to cause anger and frustration, and there are going to be incidents because cyclists are going to say, now, I can do this, the highway code enables me to do it, so why shouldn't I do it? I'm not going to move over. And they won't be that familiar because what they're actually being told to do is move over when there's traffic behind.
Let's give Dave his say. There are a few things there you were shaking your head about. Dave, you disagree. What have you got to say about that?
Well, we're all entitled to use the road. Like Nick said, some people may get held up on their journey, but the majority of the speed limits in London are 20 miles an hour. The average speed of a cyclist is 20 miles an hour. It is about sharing the roads. People have gone on for years about cyclists doing two abreast, holding up the road, staying in the middle of the road, because they're doing it for their safety. They're doing it because they're going to be visible to other road users. We've all been knocked off. I've been knocked off twice by drivers who say, oh, sorry, mate, I didn't see you. Even though I've got a high vis on, I'm in the road in front of them because they're on their phone. So, they're going to argue about taking primary position for their own safety. They're entitled to use as much as the lane as they want. Cycle lanes are good. Sometimes roads don't have cycle lanes. And then people are going to start whinging about mobile phone laws, what are coming in place. Where do you draw the line? It's about road safety. There should be no ifs, no buts. It's the way forward. We tried other measures. This is a new thinking out the box idea and it will work, guaranteed. It just means people have to give a bit more journey time and a bit more forward thinking. That's it.
Let's hope that dog behind you just had a wee.
Yeah, I know.
He didn't pick it up if he didn't. Point system, not fit for purpose, you say. There should be tougher bans.
I missed that.
The point system, you say,
mate.
the point system, not fit for purpose, that there should actually be bans.
Well, the thing is, that's the way forward. Philip, how many people got points in their licence and they're still going out, racking up? You read that in the paper last week about a female driver had 42 points and she was a financial hardship. Now, come on, let's draw the line. You misbehave, you break the highway code, you break the Road Traffic Act, you get a week's ban. You do it again, you get 2. You keep on doubling it until you get the idea and then you understand. It's not a war on good, competent drivers, it's the incompetent drivers we need to take off the road and then everything will be safe and sound.
It's going to keep you busy, that's for sure.
Yes, absolutely that. And lastly, Nick, you're the legal expert here. Could someone be prosecuted even if they didn't know about these new rules?
Absolutely. Ignorance of the law is no defence at all. It's important to bear in mind the new highway code, it's mainly advisory. It's not mandatory. So they're not saying you must, they're saying you should. So this is how we're all being advised to drive. But if, for example, you collide with someone because you've not followed the guidance, you would probably be prosecuted for driving without due care and attention. And absolutely, if you say, I'm sorry, I didn't know, well, that's more for you.
Yeah.
So the government have been very silent on this. They've been dealing with other things, which we're not going to go into now. But maybe these sort of things are a priority because they affect everyone's health.
Absolutely.
We all need to be mobile. And we do need a collaborative approach, I agree. But I don't agree that this is going to make the roads safer. I really do. I think in a year's time, if we're sitting here and looking at the statistics, we're in for a horrible time.
Well, we can all see how successful smart motorways have been.
Yes.
The Department of Transport spokesperson said the department has established a working group of key organisations to ensure that messages about the changes are as widespread as possible, and our well-established Think campaign will continue to ensure all road users are aware both when these changes come into effect and beyond. Well, let's just hope that everybody is happily sharing the road and everybody stays safe. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, still to come as a